I love a good day at the spa. I don't mind bringing the spa right here as I talk about some insider information regarding the music industry. As I have my questions nicely laid out. I hope everybody's having a really good evening and everything. So let's see. I feel like it's mostly producer driven these days, and it has been like that since mainly the early 80s when they started having producers, have a distinct sound for the band. And I know in a business perspective, the most streamlined, the way you can streamline things and make more success for whatever your product is, in this case it's music, or even art, or even the artists themselves, um, they understood that. They wanted to get their return really, really fast. And the way to do that is just, organize it in a way that ultimately will lose its soul, because when you have just you're already setting up these groups, you're already setting up um, how things are going to play out. And to somebody who really values true music, true artistry, like you understand the singer-songwriter perspective, and everybody else who's involved in the creation process, the person singing the song as well, like you want to feel that like you did back in the 60s and really before the 80s came around. But it just shifts people's motives, it shifts what people are willing to accept as popular. And it's been working for like almost 40-50 years now. So on a business standpoint, I 100% respect that because it's made the industry so much money. And although that's ultimately what they're after, the soul is lost, and a lot of people, they feel that way when it comes to music. You can put any station on these days and you're not getting the lovey-dovey, the really sweet, simple, simple-minded, easy listening that people, that you think that they would want to hear after supporting that for like 20 years or something back in the day. That's no longer the norm, and the people who are pushing these songs out, these more like beat driven, grooves, they have their own thing going, and I 100% respect that. I'm a dancer, so there's times when I don't really need something soul stirring. I just need something that I can hit the beat and show off to the people who's around me. People love watching Ashley Radiance dance, so sometimes you need something like that. There's absolutely no problem when you have amazing producers who can get in the studio and hit something up. That's somebody I can truly respect. Now, the model of how the industry works, it can be really confusing to somebody who really values artistry above, finance, but that doesn't work in today's world, or really any world. It doesn't make sense. People need to make their living, and if it's at the expense of someone's soul or art, which in this case it is, that's just the way it's going to be. If this is not the right industry for some people, it's better that you just walk away. Myself, I've always been someone who can adapt, and it hasn't been easy because I've been in different fields in my life, with entertainment being the most rewarding for me, in many ways. This is why I'm doing this video right now. This is really informative, and people are not used to seeing me inform them. They're used to me entertaining them. So this is slightly different, but the message is still getting across. Ashley Radiance's brand, and the people that support me understand that that facet is okay to show. It goes both ways, powerful lyrics that heal the soul versus beats that move your body. It goes both ways. There's balance, there's duality in life, there's like opposites for everything. So I can't really answer that fully without knowing the context of which someone is experiencing, whatever their current state is right now. And they're changing all the time. I'm changing. I'm happy to say that I'm changing. I'd like to know I'll be a different person in a year and 2 years from now, and that I'm a different person than I was 2 months ago. That's very reassuring. So some things in life, you can't label, you can't put it into a box. We're meant to be free. Us artists, we're meant to be free. That's extremely important. If I could bring back one feeling from old school music, that would be hope. When I get into my really deep tracks from like the 70s and 60s, some older things, it gives me hope, especially when I was a kid and I knew things could change. I knew I had the power to do it. And through those songs, they gave me that feeling that I could. And as an adult, doing many things in my life that tie into my identity and the brand I'm building right now, you know, it just shows that hope is there. And I feel like today you can put the stations on and I don't get a sense of hope. When I walk into a room, I'm the most hopeful thing in there. People are like addicted to Ashley, they're addicted to me because they see something different. They understand that I'm operating on a different level, something that is really important for people to start realizing that there's different people out there. Not everybody is playing, not everybody is living a lackluster lifestyle. Some people want to be who they're meant to be on earth, always changing, evolving, and listening to direction, having people help them out, and, building something more of themselves, which I'm doing. That's a tough one. I can't. Everybody has their own idea of what an icon is. Like I could say, oh, this guy's an icon, this woman's an icon. Person, like, you think they're an icon, and then we just have that like separation. So for me, iconic, I could be iconic. I've been iconic in certain situations. I'll look back and I think, no, that's me. I've done this, this, and that, and I just think I'm the most iconic thing, pertaining to that moment. Okay, and people that know me or have been lucky for me to grace my presence, they understand that, I'm operating on a totally different field, from everybody else. And that's what makes me iconic. And I'm happy about that. There's only one Ashley Radiance. And to be in my space, that's lucky. I make people feel like you have to work for it. This is not easy, and I've had people tell me, you look mysterious or you operate like that. And it's true. It's just who I am, because in the quiet, in the silent moments, that's when the most power comes out. And I'm not right now, I'm sharing that power, but it's just, it's not everything. So I understand that there's always more out there and I can always become more, but I can't become more if everybody's in my space. That's what I don't tolerate. Somebody were to throw me into a studio at this very moment in time, I would really cook up something new wave, gospel infused, some R&B, and synth wave. That would be the most incredible thing, and I feel like that can be done. There's nothing preventing Ashley Radiance and making that. So stay tuned, you guys. The most incredible things are happening. Stay tuned here. I think in terms of stories, my mind really, I put things together really fast, okay? And that doesn't mean I'm always right. A lot of times I'm not. But that's the struggle of having a mind that's so overactive and detail oriented. You just want to find answers. As humans, we really are problem solvers. So like when I hear a song or something like that, I'm like, okay, is this person trying to say something? Is it to me, to the world, to someone they're fighting with in real life? And it makes me get into that. So I really, when I hear producers, I do think of storytellers. That's the way my brain works, and I'm attracted to storytellers as well. Okay, that's why I love my producers. And in California, where I'm from, there's a lot of amazing ones out there, from girls, men, everybody who's, lived something in life and would like to share it. And that is not undermining any of the kids who, they produce some cool beats, but it's less about the story for them. It's more about just feeling it, and in the moment, which is just as important, okay? Provided that the time is right. Now, what do I think of Vegas entertainers versus worldwide ones? I feel like it's always an issue about money. Like the Vegas entertainers out there, a lot of them are struggling. They don't have their things together, and they fall into all types of traps because they're not raised in finance. They don't understand the world of money, and it's not their fault, but they're being pushed into a world where people are essentially taking advantage of them because they never got that information. So they're working for cheap, or it's just some really traumatic, and they're working long hours. That's another thing. They're working long hours, so they're giving so much of themselves, and a lot of those Vegas entertainers, like, that doesn't stick around. So you do that for maybe 4 years, 5 years if you're lucky, and then like either you just your body changes, or you feel like you're going behind in life. That's not the best trajectory to be on. It doesn't seem like it's advancing. There are some lucky people who are able to say like sport deals or spot, maybe I should say spot deals after that, and then get into more stable kind of work rather than just taking anything. And it's a really scary world to live in when you're not dealing with the big dogs, but you're just like taking whatever that comes your way. So you become really desperate, and you're not focusing on the things that you have to heal your body and to fix your bank account. I've always considered myself to be a very observant woman. You're going to hear that across my channels a whole lot. I talk about being observant, and it's just something, like I said, my mind is always overactive. I always need to find solutions to something, right? I don't like being stagnant or people taking advantage of the situation, and I like always knowing that I'm in control. And I find that people respond well to me being in control. When you assert dominance, and people begin to show understanding. Of course, there's always those who are defiant. But when you don't have money to back yourself up, it can get nasty really fast. So I learned, especially because I'm a woman in this space, just always look presentable, if that's what can shield you from a lot of troubles. And people who don't want to necessarily respect what you have to offer, at least look good, look the part, always carry yourself with that. And luckily, people who don't know me from anything, they will always comment on my appearance. And that just lets me know that I'm doing everything I can to take care of myself in this competitive space. I was always so attracted to the music world, and I understood that it was different. Some people walk into the music industry not knowing about that there's going to be like lawyers there and all types of people, like formatted as a business. A lot of people aren't, their mind is not thinking, but like I said, I'm really multitasking. I'm thinking everything at the same time, and I walk in there, I'm like, okay, I know what this guy's up to. I know what this woman's up to. So I come in prepared, and it's nice when you come in like that, like nobody can really take advantage of you when you have that strength, that wisdom, that insight really to an unknown space. You come in knowing that you're going to make some mistakes along the way, and it's completely fine. There's always going to be someone to hold your hand and tell you know what, you're walking the wrong way, let's turn around, and redirect you. And that's happened to me, and I'm so happy. Those people were always so caring and everything, and just giving me the space to grow. And I feel like there's no more surprises. Matter of fact, I'll be the biggest surprise, So I think it's really important. They lock that into, your looks do carry you out in a lot of ways. And when the biggest entertainers, be it in the world of Vegas or like worldwide ones, when they begin to neglect their health, their looks and everything, it really does take a toll on everybody. And what people don't realize is another thing is that you're not just making money for you, you're always representing somebody else, a group of, it's a system. You're representing a system. So when you fall down, everybody falls down. The pressure is real. There's going to be a lot of people who will push you to do this and that, look a certain way and everything. And if you don't have your head together, or you don't have good influences around you, it's easy to just fall for some bad vices along the way to cope with all the pressure, because this is a high pressure, though highly rewarding workspace, and I'm just so happy that, I feel really intelligent, and I feel like I've had the best mentors growing up, the people who really cared to see that I would stay stable, and that there would be a nice foundation for me and understand how the system works. There's a system feeding itself. So if you can find yourself in that system, understanding there's going to be a lot of competition and people who don't necessarily care about your mental health, then you're just ahead of a lot of them. You're ahead of a lot of the other people who don't understand, and they think, oh my God, I'm so talented, or they'll give me skills. Just me being around them is absorbing something, and after a while you'll see that you have to hold your own. You really do. And not everybody makes it out, and that's what's scary. But as for me, I understand the value of taking time away from, especially high stress kind of workspace. I understand that, because this kind of work, it bleeds into every aspect of your life. And people can say that about just about any profession, but when you're an entertainer, you don't sleep. Like, your mind never sleeps. Like, I wake up and the first thing I'm thinking about is dancing, like I'm thinking about maybe a song, and then I'll do all these moves and all this other stuff. I'm not really doing them, but in my head I'm thinking, that'd be so cool if I did this and that. If I'm just trying to grab something to drink in the middle of the night, my mind is just racing. Or I'll be thinking of something that somebody said to me after a show that I've done. Oh, that was a really nice, you did this and that. Or maybe they said something unkind to me, and I'll think about that, and just over and over and over again. And then people being really obsessive and demanding things from me, that's playing in my head constantly. So this is a high stress kind of work. Your mind never sleeps. The second you give of yourself to the world, and you understand that people won't understand that you have to separate the persona from the actual artist beneath it, and you have to deal with that every single time. That's not easy. It's really not easy. And virtually nobody else understands. Everybody else is so caught up in their own what they're getting out of it, and if you can't please everybody, then what are you gonna do? So a lot of people fall victim to vices in that case. I'm a very intelligent woman, and I feel like I have insight into this industry due to the kind of people that I surrounded myself with over the last 5 years, even longer. And it's been really good. People are really hardworking, and they like seeing results. They're really results driven, and sometimes that's neglecting their family life and some other things. And like, this thing consumes you. The world of entertainment, whether you're doing TV, film, just anything production wise, if you have a part in it, it's really all consuming. And the best thing, I know where my hideouts are. I know I can just run to certain states, certain cities, and feel refreshed again, feel like Ashley again, the artist, the person behind the artistry. And that's really important for me. I'm just really happy that I can share this kind of information as a woman who has it all together and understands how to move in this tight space, right? Like, that can often feel suffocating when you don't understand the rules of the game. It's nice. I feel like I'm a sponge. I'm learning as I go. I'm 23 years old, and life is so cool. And I feel like music just is inside my body, and I'm getting these cool ideas for dances, and I can turn on a crowd just like that. There's nothing stopping me from being amazing. So when you're with me, you're sticking with me through everything, you understand that Ashley has so much power, and being around my image, you're pulling from it. Nothing that I do is without value. Okay, so this is not computer, like, just making things up. This is real life being thrown at you, and it's your choice to take it and take something good from it. I know this is going to go far, so I'm not even worried about it, really. I just like to speak truth and tie it all back into the music industry, and understand that my place is to give off this radiance and let people benefit from it, so it can really touch their lives and transform their lives, through all these different avenues that I'm entering, and I feel so comfortable knowing that this is a really safe space for me to confess and to help heal others, right? Because this is not all just about me. This is about the people who are consuming off of me through this system, and this is what they choose, this is on them. This is what they wanted, I just happen to be this really incredible woman with a lot going, and people just always seem to be around me, okay? Always learning something from me, and it's just like I could be 25 years younger than them, 30, 35, and they walk around, their head is like, they feel mind blown, when they're around my presence, and that's really important to know that this is what you're getting every time you're around me. You're watching my music or my dances, you're listening to my sounds and the way that I carry myself. And of course, if you're ever lucky for me to meet you just like that, yeah, you will turn around to be a completely different person. And take this information with you, take this and keep following Ashley Radiance, and knowing that the world is transforming the second you listen to me. All of my words, they're so true, they're accurate, and you're gaining so much from me.